Live. Welcome everyone. We've got a fantastic video for you today. We've got Max Fleitmann, incredible entrepreneur, and we're going to be going through two different startups to provide some growth ideas, some marketing strategies. But Max, just for my YouTube channel and audience, do you just want to introduce yourself and go through some of the cool stuff that you've worked on and are working on?
Yeah, 100%. This is really exciting to do this live, as we haven't done this before, but hopefully this will be a format for the future as well. So I'm Max, based in Berlin. Basically, I've been building businesses for the last 15 years. Started out very, very young in the gaming industry, then moved over to education, switched side of the table, invested a lot into companies all around the world, and now back on the operator side. And I would describe myself as the guy that can build a business quite well from 0 to 1. So this is the stage where I really excel and I'm most interested in. So really like getting your hands dirty, working on everything in parallel, from marketing to product and all of these things. And I would describe myself as this type of full stack entrepreneur, if you can say that. And at some point, people can take over in the different areas that are way, way better than myself. But I think I have quite a generalistic overview of what you can do. And my passion topic is especially everything that relates to side product-led growth. So I love everything that is online in the product hunt community, indie hackers, these kind of things. So how can you actually drive traffic and sales to your website without breaking the bank? Through mini products, SEO, all kinds of growth hacks, and this is what I'm here for today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, there's two things that I'm excited for. First of all, when you get the experience that Max has with different businesses in all different spaces and doing those sort of low cost growth hacks, to then put you on the spot and be like, okay, we've got this business, what would you do? I think that's going to be cool. But then also we've got two different perspectives. We've both worked in startups, and I'll go for an intro on myself for Max's audience. But we know what the businesses are. We've had a bit of a look through them, but really this is a new format for us both to just go through it live and share our thoughts. And obviously we will make sure in the description that all of Max's socials and YouTube channel are linked. And yeah, you can follow his journey, because he's shown some really cool stuff, especially off the back of BaseTemplates, which is going to help a lot of entrepreneurs, startup founders out there, and then some other ventures which maybe we'll touch upon later in the video as well.
100%. So tell me more about you and your journey so far, Henry.
Yeah, so I first got into the startup world when I was at university doing social media marketing. I started an events company, like a tech platform for students, connecting them to events, and they're essentially for underrepresented students, to allow them to get access to like expensive financial consulting events in London. And then COVID hit, which obviously meant that the event business went super well. No, it crashed and burned, and I joined a program in the UK called the Elacti Foundation, which teaches recent graduates how to build, scale, and then get funding for a tech startup. And that went super well and then we got offered seed funding. We got offered £290,000. The equity deal wasn't too great for that, but that's a separate story. And then I started a marketing agency because we were bootstrapping the startup. Marketing agencies, Rough Auto Media, SEO and content marketing. And then off the back of that, I created another tech company, which is SEOSpace, which is SEO plugin for Squarespace. In 7 weeks, we've got over 600 businesses using it. So varying experience, both on the marketing side, helping other businesses, but then also applying it to my own business, which I think is to be on the marketing agency side, but then also, but there's so many marketing agencies that don't apply it to their own business. And I think you get that sort of ruthlessness, Max, when you're applying it to your own business, being like, well, what is the most cost effective thing to do here? And I've certainly learned that investing quite a lot of money into my own SaaS, and obviously Max, you have into BaseTemplates and your other businesses.
Great. So let's jump in, right?
Straight into it. Which business would you like to do first, Max?
Let's start out with EarlyNode.
That is the one that I had first as well. So we can, I'm happy to share my screen. Maybe we go through the business first, and then we can sort of take turns to give suggestions.
Yeah. So just to give you all a little bit of context, so this is a fellow entrepreneur from Germany, Nicolas, and he basically is coming from the agency side. So a development shop, building products for startups, scale-ups, especially everything that relates to React development. But he's also very, very active in this kind of like micro SaaS space and in SaaS in general. And I guess he's right now building also some kind of like holding company for smaller SaaS businesses. And because he is so passionate about this kind of topic and also wants to interact with the audience of SaaS founders, he created EarlyNode. And I also was coming to the website for the first time earlier today. And from what I'm understanding, EarlyNode is a content page / community / newsletter. So his audience are SaaS founders worldwide, and he's actually providing insights from other SaaS founders that have built successful businesses before. And I want to start out with some like general things that came to my mind when I first came to the website, and then maybe you can add some of your thoughts before we jump into our like growth hacks or stuff that we have prepared. So my question when I was coming to the website for the first time was like, what is happening here in the navbar? Because obviously I'm looking at a newsletter here or content site, and React Squad and Release Log are probably two products of his, but I wasn't expecting them in the navbar because I would always expect in the menu or the navigation things that relate to the actual website that I'm on. So this was a little bit, I don't know, I felt a little bit lost when I clicked on these kind of things. And I think it's the same for a lot of other people's that will come to the website. If I look and think about his newsletter, I have seen huge increases in conversion and sign-up rates when I always added previews of my newsletter under any kind of input form or sign-up form. Because obviously my inbox is already full with emails and newsletters, and I want to be sure that I only subscribe to the most relevant ones. And really leaving my email address here to some other dude online is like quite an investment from my perspective. So I want to see what I'm getting for that. So I would really suggest adding, I don't know, one episode below that where you say, okay, look, this is one of the last episodes. If you want to check them out, click here. And this also helps to understand if the content that I'm getting in the newsletter is different from the content that I'm seeing on the website. Because right now, I don't know where the difference is, or if I'm just getting the same articles in the newsletter, then I can see on the website. And also, I would always try to make my audience or create an audience that is as small as possible for the start. And SaaS founders, it's already a quite well-defined audience, but I think you can even have a bigger USP if you are even more focused. Like what is a small group inside SaaS founders, for example? And this could be SaaS founders that want to go from 0 to, I don't know, 10K in MRR or something. And you are creating and bringing together the best content for these groups of people. Because right now you could talk to people that are like just starting out, 100 euros or dollars in MRR, and you are talking to people that already have, I don't know, 10 million in ARR. And I think the smaller the audience or the like more well-defined an audience is, the easier it is for you to also attract customers for your product. And 100%. Two minor things just as a website feedback. So when I was looking at the meta description and title tags of the website. So I think the title tag says something like EarlyNode, and obviously you won't be found in Google if your title tag is actually EarlyNode.
Yeah.
So this needs to be something that relates to the product or service offering that you're having there. And this was my high-level feedback for the EarlyNode website. Obviously, have some few growth hacks that we can talk about in a minute here, but up to you.
Yeah. And actually, so this is a tool that I like to use, SEO Minion, for like any website. You can get access to, you can see the SEO title, the SEO description. And Max, on the topic you're speaking about before, you know, if you target everyone, you target no one. And here it's resources for bootstrapped and venture-backed SaaS founders. That is a very that's every SaaS founder, right? So it's so super broad. And when I went on this, you know, I'm bootstrapping a SaaS business myself. When I go onto here, nothing really speaks to me. Get actionable insights from SaaS veterans. For me, as you said, there's nothing that doesn't really excite me. There's nothing that is there that I can't get on podcasts elsewhere. And I definitely feel, as you said, Max, having an example of some of their best newsletters. And even for me, I like to see like how many people subscribe already, you know, join 541 other SaaS founders. Because if
Like
they are early on,
as a social proof, or what would be your like thought about that?
So it's social proof when it's big, but if they are early stage, and let's say it's a couple hundred, for me, that would excite me, because if I do find it valuable, I feel as if I can be part of the early adopters and I can be part of something that's going to be big. Because from what I can see with these guys, they are putting a lot of time and effort into going into it in a direction. And if I saw, oh, there's only 250 people that have signed up, that would excite me, because I can be like, wow, I feel as if I'm early on with what they're doing. I want to be part of it. And then obviously when the numbers get bigger, then it can be social proof. So yeah.
What is the best SaaS resource that you have consumed in the past, let's say 3 months or something?
Best SaaS resource. I am actually going to touch upon one on YouTube in the last 3 months, and we'll get onto this on the growth hacks. But this is a guy that I've been following on YouTube. I actually interviewed him on my YouTube channel fairly recently. A guy called Alex Hayden, or No Code Alex. He teaches people how to start no code SaaS. And I feel as if, and we're going to get onto the growth hack side, I feel as if he's sharing information about SaaS in a very unique way that hasn't necessarily been done before. So this is the person. But in general, wider than that, This Week in Startups from Jason Calacanis. It's not just on SaaS, it's more wider tech startups, but that's how I got into it. And that's, if I just had one resource, I would stick to that. How about yourself?
So I'm having the problem right now, to be honest, that there are too many resources out there. So it's really, really hard to find what's relevant for me. And for me, what I'm trying to do right now is build up a kind of like SaaS advisory board for my own ventures. So people that I trust and that I can pick their brains, because they also trust me and see the value of talking to me. And I just recently had a call with a friend of mine who built a very successful SaaS company, and we were just talking about email marketing, for example. So how do you run your emails in your SaaS company? And it was such an insane value that he provided to me, because he was just opening up his customer IO and showed me all of the emails that they are sending out, how he built the funnels, the kind of like properties that the customers and everything have. And this is like so much more value for me than like this generic advice. So right now, if I'm trying to like write down the very specific problems that I have, and then talk to people that have done it before, that can answer specific questions for the problems that I have.
Yeah, I love the advisory board idea. One of the things that I do in my YouTube channel is interview other SaaS founders, purely really as a mechanism to be able to meet other people, because no one really, like, people don't really say no to podcasts, particularly in the early days. And I spoke to 2 guys recently who've got it's called Pitch Lane. It basically personalizes. It's imagine Loom videos, but it personalizes the first 20 seconds. So say I'm doing outreach to you, I can record a generic Loom video, and if I had your website, it would add your website a screen recording at the start with me scrolling through it. So like, hey Max, I was just going through your website, blah 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 blah. Had dinner with these guys, and it's 100% the same as what you said. We're talking about email marketing, and you get little snippets like you will have seen going through that guy's setup that you just can't access anywhere else. And I definitely love the idea of having that board of advisors. How do you approach building that, Max?
So right now we are in the earliest days of that, and we are creating obviously a long list of people that we have in mind. And I'm also trying to be very specific about the areas where they can provide value. So for example, some people are very good at email marketing. Some are very good at, I don't know, analytics or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
creating the long list of people. And then obviously it's like building a relationship. Obviously, you can't reach out to them and say, hey, I want to have you as an advisor without like giving anything first.
Sure.
So I try to build up very strategically these kind of relationships. And if I'm interesting for them, they will probably share their insights with me. And then I want to have this for each of the ventures that we have. I want to have, let's say, 3 to 5 people that we can always call, always text, but also I want to have this kind of quarterly meeting where I invite all of them into one room, let's say 3 to 4 hours. And this should be the day that we as founders are fearing for the whole quarter, because this is where we need to show what we have done in the last quarter. And I want to be them radically honest and tell us, guys, what the heck are you doing here? So radically honest, but for us also well prepared. I don't want to waste their time. So these 4 hours will be really, really intense with preparation, and then take all of their input, go back to work, and let's see each other again like in the next quarter.
And actually that could be an angle for EarlyNode, right? So one of the things that I was going to comment on the website that you said, so I was going through the different articles that they've got, and they've got different categories, they've got SaaS lessons, etc. And I found like it looks as if they're doing some sort of SEO stuff here. What is David Sachs' net worth? However, if they're and like it seems as if they're doing SaaS lessons, you can see here pricing tactics. That could actually be a fantastic angle for them, and that's something that I would go to this website for. If they get specialists in each SaaS area, and then they can have landing pages that's SaaS marketing tips, and then they've got all the interviews from the different SaaS founders that specialize in email marketing on that page. That would be something that would be a no-brainer for me to subscribe to, because as you said here, you don't really understand too much, and if they could maybe replicate similar to what you're doing, that you've got these experts accessible on EarlyNode that are able to provide expertise in every area of your startup.
Yeah. And one thing that I was thinking about was also, if I am a SaaS founder and I want to start, I need to make a lot of decisions also around tooling and these kind of things. So what I would to do is like more programmatic SEO, where I create landing pages for specific tools. For example, top 10 analytic tools for SaaS founders. And then I have a list of, I don't know, Mixpanel, Amplitude, all of these things. And this is highly relevant to the audience. And I think from what I've seen, it's not like very competitive. These kind of like top tool keywords, very, very long tail. And I think this could drive a good amount of traffic. And it's really, really easy to do, because you can almost like source the data from other areas like G2, Capterra, or Crunchbase or something. Yeah.
And I think it'd be worth mentioning for anyone that wants to learn about the sort of more programmatic side of things, I'd recommend you go over to BaseTemplates, Max's website, one of his websites, and it's a VC ones, isn't it? In particular,
it's in the footer.
in the footer.
Yeah. So if you go to find your investor, just under the resource point,
the resource
on the bottom. Yeah. So the idea was we wanted to create a ton of articles without breaking the bank and spending too much time on creating the content. So we created hundreds of articles around the top investors in every single city, every single region. And if you click on one of these articles, Henry, you can see that the data in there is actually sourced from other sources. I don't know, for example, Crunchbase or something. And most of these keywords are very, very low competition. So it's really easy for to rank up high for them. And it's driving like thousands of visitors to our website every single week.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I guess that leads pretty well onto the growth hack side of things. You can maybe see that's what they're trying to do for the what is David Sacks' net worth, and the maybe go through different people. But what Max is talking about there is actually something that I want to speak about on the next business as well. Like, you can, on the BaseTemplates website, the page that gets the most visitors every month is an article that we wrote about Ref Media, about pros and cons of venture capital firms. But for transparency, that business, that article would have cost hundreds of dollars. But if you can find the programmatic SEO, so being able to produce a lot of content at scale, you can maybe produce the same, like, many more articles for the same amount as if you have a really detailed article that's going to drive much more traffic. And if you can get that in a niche that's going to be able to drive revenue for your site, you're going to get a lot of traffic, and then also you can push them towards some sort of piece of gated content or something that you're selling. That is more something that I wanted to talk about in the next startup. But probably the biggest thing that I would recommend for EarlyNode is whatever categories they are going to be doing, as Max did, he needs to have, you need to have a page, so list of venture capital firms. Max has got all of this. I couldn't necessarily find, like, okay, they've got their profiles, here we are. So this is their featured posting profiles. But really, this needs to be a helpful page by itself, and they want to link that in the heading. So if they've got profiles of successful SaaS founders, then they need to really be screaming and shouting about that, and then have a really helpful page, landing page that people can land on, that has different categories of successful SaaS founders, because I'd imagine there's going to be some search volume around that, but then that makes it more of a helpful page. This isn't too useful at the moment. It seems a little bit like thrown together. But if they categorize this in a way, put it in the header, much easier to navigate, and will drive some decent traffic as well. What are your thoughts,
Great.
Max?
Yeah, 100%. And there's another thing that I wanted to mention. I don't know if they want to do it, but what I'm seeing is like an insane opportunity with TikTok right now. So I have one business, and they are creating like content about like how to build a house here in Germany.
Yeah,
So very niche audience, and it's insane the amount of reach that you can generate with these kind of videos. So the last few videos have been watched over 3 million times, and it's crazy also how much traffic you can drive through that to your website. And I think like there's an opportunity to do actually the same for things like EarlyNode. So if you are producing very good content about SaaS growth hacks, SaaS resources, putting maybe also the articles and stories just into videos, you can drive like hundreds and thousands of signups to the newsletter at very low costs.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to touch upon as well. I've seen this trend recently, probably because I'm in that sort of world as well, where there are people that are building SaaS newsletters extremely fast through short form content. And the reason I wanted to speak about Alex, he's grown from, on Instagram, 500 followers to about 110,000 followers in 7 weeks, just through short form content. He's doing really well on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, and he does the exact same thing, sharing SaaS ideas, because I have found that information in this sort of format is hard to access. And the first thing that I did when I went on EarlyNode was scroll down to look for an Instagram or TikTok icon. Because if I was in that position, I would probably start some sort of podcast. I don't know if they are, but some sort of longer form video content that they can then just turn into reels. Because Alex is doing it about no code SaaS. It's how to start a SaaS in one day, how to reduce churn for your SaaS. This sort of stuff isn't really out there too much, and I believe there is a bit of a wave at the moment of people that are building these sort of newsletters. This guy just got sponsored by HubSpot, for example. So that it can be pretty lucrative, and I couldn't agree more with Max there.
Cool. Should we jump over to the next venture?
Let's go for it. This is another one of yours, Max. So do you want to maybe introduce this and can go from there?
Yeah, so this is also a company from Germany, Aampere, and basically they are building, you could say, oh, sorry, I was just locked out. So they are basically building a marketplace for electric vehicles. So you can sell your car there, you can buy a car there. So very, very specific in forms of the use case. And I think they are still in the earliest days. So trying to really get it off the ground and also getting the attention, because obviously in this whole car market, there are so many competitors. It's insane.
Yeah.
And you really need to find a nice angle to bring people to your website. And the first thing that I thought was also about the website in general. So I think they can work a lot on the design and their call to actions. Agreed. Because when I was going to the website, it was too many CTAs, and also the design wasn't quite clear, so the elements weren't aligned properly and these kind of things. And if I'm thinking about buying a new car, it's a lot about trust. And if I'm spending 30K, 50K, 70K, I want to have this sense of trust. And if the website is not looking properly, I'm probably dropping off right away.
Yeah. I felt that when I came to this, it sort of wasn't 100% clear exactly what. There's a lot of these were a little bit confusing. Okay, there's different call to actions, and marketplaces are very. I find as websites that can be super challenging because you're trying to tailor to different audiences. But I sort of, when I came on here, was a little bit. There's definitely a design element, a lot of text here. Sort of like what they're trying to achieve here, but maybe there's definitely a design element. Max, if only there was a way to get designers on tap. Do you know of anywhere that they can go to for that?
Yeah. So as you know, design has always been something that has been quite problematic for a lot of businesses. So we launched a new venture earlier this year that's called Megic Design. So we also help early stage founders to get their design straight and all of that in a monthly subscription. So companies pay a fixed monthly fee, and for that you can get all of your designs done by our designers. So really good if you don't want to hire a designer yourself, don't have the resources right now, and need high quality design.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of the perfect example for what someone, because you sort of overlook with how much there is to do for a business like this, and definitely that's something that could help. I mean, even as you said about lining up, just little things that can make a huge difference. I just launched a website.
And my thought would be here, all of the big platforms where you can actually buy cars, they are building it in a way for a reason that you can start searching right away and scrolling through the vehicles, because I think this is also the main reason that main reason people go to these websites. And so I think you should make something in that sense that people can take action way quicker than they can right now. They don't want to read 20 kilometers of text before.
Yeah, I mean, this is an example. We buy any car in the UK. The first thing that you get when you land on is put in your registration. So if we compare the two, okay, there's find an e-car, but even that, it's like it is straight away into the sort of call to action, whereas maybe you don't have here. Probably this is one as well massively for the programmatic SEO side of things. I was going through their news. Obviously, it's all in German, so I had to sort of read in between the lines. But I think 6 articles on the website. If I was them, I would have. I mean, they've got their find electric car. Yeah, so they've got this. I think this is a perfect example where they could optimize this for buy an e-car or buy an electric car, and then they have, or maybe even like a landing page where it's best electric cars, and then individual sub pages that are like best. I got an example here: best BMW electric car, and just blast out for every single car make that page that internally links back then to, because the topical authority they'll build from that is insane, and just the internal links going back to this page will be.
And I would even go one step further and also build landing pages for like long tail, something like electric vehicle plus city name. So just get a list of every city in Germany, because I think a lot of like car buying is still very local. And so probably the competition is really, really low, because most of the local car dealers don't even know about SEO. So I don't know if you have like a buy electric vehicle in Hamburg or something, or Munich. I think you should be quite good off with ranking for that.
I mean, you know, I'm sure there's probably maybe more search volume in German, but electric car Munich, for example, 10 per month. So that's the sort of thing that Max is talking about there, right? I love that idea that the local SEO, because as you said, in maybe little, you know, especially smaller towns in Germany, smaller towns anywhere in the world, as you said, those sort of people aren't going to be SEO savvy, and you can. Max, would you maybe do that on this page, so you can do like, you'd maybe drop a city make a city drop down, and then each one of those pages would be an individual landing page.
Or you could either do that through like the filters, but sometimes I have the feeling that landing pages perform better if they are not like just another view of the same items. I don't know how you feel about this. So I would probably rather change the design for these kind of landing pages, and maybe also create some kind of content that is also related to the city, and then pull the data on the cars just into one section on this kind of landing page.
Yeah, it's it can depend. So that's where you've always got to look at the competition, because I've got a client, Menus, and they provide free menu templates. If you go for restaurants, you go on and look at the you can see there, and there, if you go on the competition, Canva ranks position 1. They've got menu templates. There's no content on this page other than just loads of menu templates, so they didn't actually need to put any. So this is showing by just doing some research, you can find in this niche that, you know, they've got the individual almost filtered landing pages, as you said, no content on them other than just loads of templates. And that may be the case in this niche as well, that Google is just prioritizing not content, but number of available options for users coming to this page. So it's pure key. It depends on the competitors.
Yeah, but probably then you need to build something out that you will always show search results, even if you don't have something in that city. So I don't know. We don't have a car in Munich right now, but take a look at the online available cars or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Well, mate, you can always have the sold cars there previously, or a little notification with expanded the radius because there were no cars available.
And another thing that people really love is every kind of comparison and alternative pages. And I think especially for the electric vehicle area, this is just an insane opportunity. So I would bet that people putting stuff down like, I don't know, Tesla alternative or Tesla versus BMW electric vehicle and all kinds of things. And the good thing about this is all data that is available online, and you just need to put the data from other sources and just to show it in a visually appealing way towards the customers.
Yeah, it's also on that as well. The first thing for any business that is looking to sort of dip their toes into SEO, there's exactly what Max said. Comparisons are highly converting, particularly in SaaS, but then also pain point SEO. So in this niche, in the electric car niche, what if someone is in pain and they're looking for a solution straight away? What is the term that they search? And that can be applied to pretty much any niche. When someone is desperately looking for an electric car, when someone is desperately looking to switch out their car, maybe a diesel car for an electric car, what are they searching in order to make that switch? Because if you can rank for those early on, they're going to be highly converting and can fuel your future SEO growth. So, yeah.
So, as I said earlier, I also love to create these like side product led growth initiatives. And what I mean with that, these are like mini tools or like content pieces, images, market maps, things that are interesting to the audience. But our main reason is also to create a buzz online for these kind of assets. And so I was thinking about like two things that could be very, very interesting here. So first of all, what I would do, I would build some kind of form or quiz that relates to which electric car suits me the best. So bringing people over to the website that are interested in electric cars, but they don't know yet, okay, which car is the right car for me. And you will walk them through, I don't know, 3 to 4 questions, and then you will spit out the cars that are relevant for them, depending on the price, range, distance range, and all kinds of things. And you can use or like collect their email address. You know exactly what kind of information or like what cars are in their type of area. So you can just like customize also the website for them. And it could be something that is also highly shareable, because you can do something like share this with your family, with your wife, or something like this. So this is something that I would build. And then I think I would really double down on reports and infographics. Electric vehicles are a huge topic in the press and for any kind of news outlets right now. And if you can create some resources that they share on their website, because they think, look, these are the top 10 electric vehicles by, I don't know, people that are using it, or by this kind of metric, they will post it on their news articles and link back to your website.
Yeah, I was actually thinking as well, Max, in terms of creating those sort of tools, maybe even electric car charging points in Germany. If maybe that data is open source, but if they can provide that, and make it gated, maybe after 2 or 3 searches, they'll begin to build a data set of people that have electric cars because they're looking for charging points, which they can then do remarketing when they want to sell that car. But then even maybe one of the biggest things that people around on the pain point SEO, one of the biggest things that people are unsure of when they're looking to get an electric car or not is the battery range. So maybe even some sort of calculator in terms of, for different cars, how long a charge lasts and how many miles they can go, something around that line to capture that intent when people are deciding whether they do want to make the electric car shift, again, so that it can capture those emails ready for when they do want to make the shift, which is going to be inevitable for many people.
Yeah, and they could also do this kind of like TikTok tactic where they do like experiments with electric cars. So I know a lot of people are always asking themselves like, how far is the range if I'm going like full throttle versus how far is the range if I'm just going very, very slowly with my car? And you can create these fun videos where you can compare the two, and I'm sure that people will probably be interested into that, probably like it, share it, and these kind of things.
A very good example for a business that does that is CarWow in the UK. Their car reviews and tests are some of the best that I've seen. So I'd recommend if the team watch this video to go and check out CarWow in the UK, because they do it very well. Because I could imagine watching that myself, you know, comparing to electric cars and the sort of stuff that you said as well. The yeah, how long does the last at full throttle, maybe even brake tests. I would actually love to see, you know, like, especially in Teslas, the interior and the technology is super cool, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add, Max, or should we go on to the third and final one?
Yeah, let's move over.
So we have got Validient, and this is actually a friend of mine who has this business, Yayan. They came through the same tech incubator that I went through, and essentially what they are is a KYC and so know your client and anti-money laundering onboarding solution for law firms. So if you imagine you start working with a law firm, typically you're going to have to print out a lot of paper documents. You're going to have to go through a lot of manual processes in order to start working with that law firm, you know, the KYC and anti-money laundering checks. Versus if you look at, you know, things like Starling Bank, how easy the onboarding is there. Take a picture of your ID, the onboarding is all automated. This is what they are bringing to law firms. So very, very easy, saves them a lot of time and money. And I know one thing that they're particularly doing pretty well is SEO. So one of the challenges that businesses can have with SEO is, you know, maybe a little bit of keyword stuffing. I guess if you look at this, verify clients, prevent fraud, reduce risk, identify funds, remaining client, a lot of keywords maybe are packed into this, which can have its challenges. But for a sort of newer business, they're ranking in the US position, when this loads, you know, position 1 for a lot of how to spot a fake passport, these sort of terms that target customers could be searching. However, I know one of the challenges in this industry, in the law industry, it is very old fashioned and it is very slow. So I was really interested to get your thoughts on this, Max. In these slow moving industries, how would you approach it for a business like Validient that, you know, probably the challenge that they are going to face is how slow, you know, buying processes are in law firms? How would you approach it? Have you got any hacks that you would apply, or maybe recommendations to the team?
Yeah, so how I'm thinking about these kind of businesses is always like, get started as early as possible and build up a repeatable sales process. Because let's imagine we are starting with our outreach today, and we are sending out emails to 100 law firms this week. And then we will probably get responses over time, get into conversations with them, and maybe it takes 6 months to close 2 deals out of the 100 that we reached out to this week. So we need to make sure that we are always putting 100 more into our funnel every single week to be at a stage in 6 months where we will be acquiring 2 new customers per week. And the problem that I'm seeing with most of these ventures is they are starting with their outreach, then they are waiting to push out the next bunch of emails, for example, and then they are wondering why their sales are like this, like going up, going down. And we need to create a process that is constantly new outreach, constantly new sales. And then in 6 months, you will be really, really happy because you can add revenue on top every single week. But this is just like the homework that you need to do.
Yeah, and that's a challenge, particularly for like smaller teams, right? Because let's say they've got a campaign, they plan to go up to the campaign, they do a load of outreach or they do a big push, then they run out of leads and then it dries out. And then they go for the next one and then it goes up and dries out. And then, as you said, you need volume. I know that one of the challenges that this team has gone through is getting past the gatekeepers at law firms. Typically, you know, the people at law firms will have a PA that always answers the phone, and getting past that person is particularly hard. I know they've tried things like sending letters. They did quite a cool Valentine's Day campaign. I can't remember exactly what it was, but sending handwritten letters to law firms and things to stand out from the crowd. If I was this business or any business in those more traditional industries, I would always look at spaces where those people already meet online. Are there any LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups? If not, I would create them. I would be the person that is able to bring these people together online. Maybe even part. Do you feel there could be could there be like a short form angle on this, or do you not think at all? It's a pretty tricky one.
I wouldn't do short form content to be honest, but like if there's really a pressing problem, people will probably consume some kind of content around this. And I think for them it's important. Also, it will take some time, but you need to be the person that creates this kind of content. And this can be literally everything from webinars that you are doing over to market maps, but you can also do something like, I don't know, self-assessments for these kinds of firms, benchmark reports. So you need to be the first person they think of if they want to change anything about their processes. And then at some point you will create this kind of like flywheel where you have the first clients and they are happy, and then they are all connected with their peers at the other firms. They are talking about you, and you will always be top of mind.
Yeah, some sort of easy entry point, some sort of tool that's really easy for people to adopt. Because one of the biggest things is risk and compliance at law firms. So if there's a way to bypass that, a super really easy to use tool, or benchmarking, as you said, that allows people to consume Validient, then that could be a good way. I mean, in my opinion as well, particularly in London, I know this is a UK team, I would work as close as possible to where the law firm's offices are. I'm sure many of them are in like a similar place in London. I would put myself as much time as possible to be in close proximity to these law firms, because that's just going to give you that in. Anything that you can do to get that initial in, to start speaking to the right people, I would do. I'd imagine there's even going to be bars next to bars and pubs in London next to these law firms. I would be in those as often as possible, speaking to people. Maybe even like silly things like, let's say if they're, because I know at banks, they're like UBS in the UK, there's a bar next to it that everyone from UBS goes to. If there's the equivalent of that in London for law firms, placemats, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit tacky, but any sort of way to just get that initial in, maybe even QR code, something like that, sponsor a night at that bar.
I would bribe the delivery drivers with the food orders to put a flyer or sticker on the meals that they are delivering to these kind of law firms.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely anything, just increasing your chance to be able to get that initial in, because I think, as you said, it's that initial in that's going to be the hardest thing, and then you'll get that flywheel effect, because I'd imagine it is very cliquey at the law firms as well.
And also you can try to go into the firms on the back of some other relations that they already have. So I don't know what kind of relation these kind of like law firms have already, which kind of software vendors, but probably you can like piggyback with them.
Yeah. And maybe even go through brokers to begin with. So go through middlemen, see if you can get them on board, and then they're going to have contacts at different firms as well. This is a really tricky one, and sort of why I wanted to put it in there as well, because those long sales cycles, startups, can be quite hard to do the growth hacks on. However, in those traditional industries,
but maybe this is even a huge chance, because like no one is used. Like, for example, if we are building a software solution in the e-com space, everyone is literally doing the same because the playbook is clear. Everyone is doing shiny events, shiny content, newsletters, everything. But if you are in this kind of like old industry, maybe it could be even a chance to adapt some of the strategies that work in other areas like e-com and bring them over to this kind of industry. Because in the end, the people that are working in the firms are interested in their jobs mostly, and they also want to consume content in a nice way and not read this, like, I don't know, old books or something around it, or boring papers.
Yeah. I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily apply to this, but for law firm, there's got to be an opportunity for law firms to do that as well. I'd imagine there'd be some marketing agencies now that are helping law firms come over to the new side of marketing, so doing short form content. I've always thought that for a long time. Accountants, law firms, those that get into short form content and do it well early, if you can, maybe that's the angle. You go for like progressive marketing firms that are aimed at law firms that are working with those sorts of more progressive firms, progressive people, and that then gives you the in for the firms that are going to be more forward thinking and more likely to adopt technology.
Yeah.
For a proxy, I guess. But yeah, I guess is there anything else that you want to add to this, Max? I think
No.
definitely their website could maybe a little bit of a freshen up, similar to the one before. You know, when I go on this, it doesn't, maybe, I don't necessarily think SaaS business, maybe.
Yeah.
I think this is actually one point as well, a final point from me, for any businesses watching this that aren't doing YouTube. It's something Max and I have spoken about. YouTube doesn't have to mean you talking in front of a camera doing what Max and I are doing now. This is going to be huge in the AI age. Google is going to be looking for websites that are able to show topical authority, and having YouTube videos is key for that. But also having YouTube videos increases the amount of places that you're going to be able to rank, and especially for new startups, you can use YouTube's authority and rank on page one for using your YouTube videos probably much earlier than you are going to be able to with your software. So YouTube's a massive thing that people should definitely be deploying. And if you want to see someone that's doing that well, I'll just stop sharing now. I definitely recommend heading over to Max's YouTube channel, because he's doing it very well for individual pages on his website by sharing helpful content, but then also embedding them onto different blogs on his website and different landing pages.
100%. So, Henry, I have prepared like 2 more questions for you to wrap this up.
Go for it.
So,
Let's go for it.
I think it's really interesting for most people. Like, you as an entrepreneur, early stage, you will always have unlimited ideas but limited resources. So, where should I, as an early stage entrepreneur, start?
I always think start with so is that in terms of starting how to pick the idea, or when you've got an idea what to do next, where to start? Or
I think the biggest question that I always get is like, how do I find my first 100? How do I find my first 1,000 customers, people that are using my product? Like, there are 10 million marketing channels, things that I can do, but what's my first step?
so I would actually flip this on its head a little bit. I would, instead of thinking product distribution, in this age, I would think distribution first. So when you're coming up with ideas, I would always think, when I get a product, how am I going to distribute it first? Because that's often one of the biggest challenges that people have. They build a product, it could be fantastic, but then how are you actually going to get people to pay for it? How are you going to get in front of as many customers as possible? If we think of Validient, for example, that could be a fantastic product, but one of the biggest challenges could be getting it in front of people. And that's how I approach my most recent SaaS business. I focus on getting in front of people first before building anything, because that's one of the best fail-safe ways to figure out, okay, is this a go or not? And then once you've nailed the distribution, that enables you to build a waiting list and a group of people that you can interview to make the product that you launch even better. So I would flip it on its head a little bit. How about yourself, Max?
100% agree on that. So I'm a product person myself. I love to build products and I could do that all day long, but I've learned it the hard way. If you build a product that no one wants to use, no one wants to buy, this is just a hobby and not a business. So
Yeah, yeah,
same for me, building distribution first, selling without even having a product.
yeah. And I saw that you actually did that with your VC landing pages, didn't you? You launched them, thousands of people to the website, and then you figured out something to potentially sell off the top back of it. Was
Yeah.
that how that went?
Yeah, correct. So we started out with the list and with the articles, and then saw, okay, there's like attention on the topic. So what is interesting for them? And then we added a list of VCs on top that they could buy. And now we have both the
Yeah,
distribution and the product
yeah,
converting into
yeah,
sales.
100%, 100%.
Okay, final question from my side. Also a question that I get quite a lot, like how much of my marketing, distribution, growth hacks should I do on my own? And when should I try to assemble a team of people or freelancers? So what is your opinion on leveraging your own time and multiplying yourself?
So maybe how I approach it is a bit different to what I would recommend. Me personally, I like to try things first myself, have a bit of success before then building a team. Because I found that you can have a team that you build out and you can have an amazing person that can become bad without the wrong support. And I found that the best way for me to be able to do that and to build a team is to at least know the direction that I would go first to help set that person or team off on the right way, to then let their skills and let them run away with it. That's how I recommend doing things. However, that can sometimes lead to scaling problems, bottlenecks at your business. So maybe the way that you should probably do it instead is focus on what you're good at, go all in on that. And if there's other areas that you need to focus on, do that as early as possible so that all you can focus on is what you're good at. And that's something that I've been trying to do a lot more myself, focus on what I'm good at, and then build a team of talented people around that to focus on the things that I either don't like doing or I'm not good at. How about yourself, Max?
Yeah, my opinion on that is most founders and myself are trying to work on too many channels in parallel. What I'm thinking right now, 99% of the businesses can be built to a significant size just on the back of one channel. And it takes a lot of time and effort to get one channel to work. And it's also your responsibility as a founder to get that done. And obviously you
Yeah.
can use some help on that, on, I don't know, creating content or something, but you are the person who knows best about the customer's problems and your solution for it. So you need to work quite closely with the people that help you on that. And then together try to figure out one channel, bring it to a significant size, and then you can think about channel 2 and 3.
Yeah. Maybe the thing I would add on to that as well is find that channel that works and go all in on that, but create leverage as early as you can. So you by yourself as a founder, as you said, people, you've got so many different things to focus on. You're unlikely to be successful in a growth channel if you don't look to create leverage as soon as possible, whether that be by utilizing your team, whether it's by utilizing technology, whatever it is, leverage is going to be important to get that scale on whatever channel you choose. I actually had a question as well for you, Max, as well to end on, and this is maybe a bit of a broader topic, but super relevant right now in this AI age. What would you recommend to founders right now for them to be able to effectively utilize AI in their business, whether it be for marketing and growth hacks, or whether it be maybe broader for productivity? How are you thinking about that?
So I think the biggest lever of AI is that you can do things more quickly and you can leverage yourself by using the help of AI. I think you don't need to fear that it will kill your business, it will kill your job or the job of any people out there. So I would focus very specifically. If I have a task, I ask myself the question, can I get more input, more context here by using AI? If not, I'm doing it the old way. And also what I'm not doing, and I see a lot of people doing it right now, just spending the whole week trying out any kind of AI stuff, and they are literally not producing any kind of results. So be very specific about the times where your trial time is, and this is just on top time, but this is in most cases not bringing your business to the next step.
Yeah, I would agree. It's quite easy to get shiny object syndrome in the world we're in at the moment. Like, try these tools. I mean, me personally, ChatGPT now is my default browser. So when I open a new window, I'm trying to just create a bit of a habit to always not use the tools, but first and foremost think, is there a more effective way to do this using AI than I'm about to do it?
Interesting.
That is how I'm approaching it. So, but yeah, Max, it's been fantastic to do this bit of a different format. We'll make sure that our social channels will be in the description of this video. And is there anything that you want to end on, Max? How can people find you?
Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn or YouTube. Put down in the comment what you think about our growth hacks, also about our ideas for the future, and also if you want to be on any of the next episodes of this, leave the link to your startup, and we are happily sharing our advice from building businesses for the last years.
Yeah, it's been I've really enjoyed it, putting ourselves on our toes, and I really enjoy the angles that you bring to things. But obviously, thanks a lot, guys. For anyone that's watched this far, and as Max said, leave a comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channels, etc.